Good afternoon, folks. Hope you are having a wonderful middle of your week. We are on Wednesday now, so we are approaching the weekend. Don't you worry about it if you are struggling to get through the week. Hopefully I can help you out a little bit with some hobby nightmares. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below. The Patreon button is also down below. And become a member of the channel if you want to help out the channel. If you do so, you will be entered into the prize draw that is at the start of every single month. So our next one will be on in August. So I'm thinking we're going to be doing it on August the 6th. So August the 6th will be our next prize draw. The first Sunday of every month I'm going to try and make it. And every single time you do that, you will be entered into the prize draw if you are a patron or you are a member of the channel. The top prize this month is £50 worth of models from Composite Games. If you are getting anything from hobby related, make sure you go and give Composite Games some love and use the promo code Northern Exile down below to get yourself 5% off at checkout. They provide some really cool prizes. And also, on top of the £50 worth of free models, which is our top prize, our second top prize is a Dark Angels command set. So, the command squad, essentially, from Dark Angels. You can get one of them. All in lovely Terminator armor with their relic bits and things like that. So, if you want to enter into that at the start of next month, all you need to do is be a patron or a member of the channel. That basically means that you're helping out the channel financially, and you can do it at any level, doesn't matter what you do it at, you're going to be entered in. Thank you so much for all of you who gave for our fundraiser for men's mental health last time. We'll be doing another one next month as well, and it will be men's mental health again, because it will always be men's mental health on this channel, because most of the people watching this are men, and I know a lot of people in the hobby go through some serious stuff. So, I will always be here to help. And if I have my way about it, so will the charities that help you as well. Let's move on to some hobby nightmares, shall we? Chant says, "Hello North. I put in some effort into making this easy to follow, so please let me know how I did." Alright? Putting yourself out there. "Last week I volunteered as a counsellor at a summer camp for an amazing group of 92. 8 to 16-year-old kids. The camp was located around a lake. Keep that in mind." Okay, I hope this got something to do with the hobby. Let's get into it. "The program director asked if we would like to see or facilitate any specific programs, and if so, what supplies would we need? I said I would like to bring miniatures and let the kids paint them, and that I already had everything. After she told me it was approved, I was really excited. Then I thought, oh crap, what have I got myself into? Because I have no clue how to really go about this. I guess she didn't think I actually had everything, because the day before camp actually started, she asked me if I did indeed have everything. But indeed, I did. It didn't go over how I expected though. It went much better than I thought it would. More kids than I expected wanted to paint. I didn't really show them how to paint, I just let them pick a model, told them to use any colour they wanted because the only thing that mattered is if they liked it. The finished models are an assortment of clashing metallic colours that wouldn't look out of place at a pride parade. And one Terminator in particular wouldn't look out of place in the Emperor's Children Legion. I've never been in a hobby store where people are sitting around a few tables and painting their models, but from the stories I've heard in your videos, that's exactly what this was, but just without all the toxicity from the horror stories. The kid that painted the warden in the attached image saw I was working on during my free time and told me he thought mine was good, but I just needed to put some more work into the fine details. I wanted to get him in the lake. How is your grandfather doing? The last year of my grandfather's life was a roller coaster of declining health. Thankfully, I had constant assistance because there is no way I could have done that alone. Cheers." Okay, so nice positive story there. He's doing pretty well. In fact, since he's gotten home, the first month or maybe the first couple of weeks, he was not doing very well at all. You know, he was on the decline, and we were all thinking, okay, this is probably it. You know, this is probably, here we go, sort of a thing, you know. I'm just going to have a sip of tea, one sec. There we go. Yeah, so we thought that, you know, here we go, you know, things are going to go downhill from here steadily, and it's about making him comfortable. But it turns out he has rebounded in a top way. He's reading books again. He's watching TV without me needing to explain what's going on. He knows what day it is. And yeah, he's kind of almost back to where he was before he went in, which is great. Great stuff. Anyway, moving on. Damon the Damned says, "Hey North." Damon the Damned, that's a cool name. He says, "Hey North, just wanted to bring some context to your video on women in the hobby yesterday. I agree with all your points, and it kind of shows where people are. I agree with all of your points, and it kind of shows where people are at when you simply throw the girls in the hobby some empathy, and some folks in the old comment section just cannot handle that. Be better." Yeah, okay, so going on that. 1 second, sorry. My voice is just losing at the moment. I don't know what it is. I think this morning I had quite a shouty class. So, sometimes it does get the old voice. Yeah, I wanted to punctuate that a little bit. That's a good point. So yesterday's video, the point of yesterday's video was literally, hey, some of the things we say to women in the hobby aren't cool, and if you say things like this to a woman, you're probably not going to get laid anytime soon. That was my point. And the fact that that got pushed back shows that there is a lot of work to do around this place. A lot of people did seem to think that, even though I expressly said at the start of the video, hey, just because I'm showing a bit of empathy here, doesn't mean I don't have empathy for your situation. This world isn't a place of absolutes, right? It isn't. You can hold two opposing opinions at the same time, as long as it's logical, which it is. I do not get how you can have all of those warnings at the start of a video and a very calmly laid out, normal, it's literally, the sky is blue. That argument yesterday was, the sky is blue, gents. Don't turn the sky red and you'll probably get laid. And people argued against that. Are you serious? Are you serious? Moving on. That being said, this is a bit of a balance-giving story that has recently happened to me in Chicago. I'm aware you lived here for a while. How did you like it? I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was a really cool city. It was essentially like Liverpool, but cleaner, 10 times larger, and on steroids. That's literally what it was. It was an American, It was a gorgeous city with really cool people in it. I didn't go to the south side, obviously, because, well, I don't like being shot. But everywhere else was cool. The nights out I went on in Chicago when I was newly single were epic and just awesome. Absolutely awesome. Really do recommend it. Especially if you're a single English bloke. Dude, you're going to clean up. You will clean up in the Midwest, I'm telling you. So essentially, he says, and I quote, moving on, Damon says, "Essentially, I met a girl who we will call Alison at my local gaming club. Smart, funny, bit of a goth and a graphic designer, who was into the painting side of the hobby. I was there with friends and had been frequenting the store and club for several years at this point. Alison was pretty new, but had quickly gained friends from her hobby, from her bubbly personality and stunning good looks. We actually got together because I took your advice from last year and asked everybody at the club if they wanted to have drinks after our gaming session, including her. She came with us, and eventually we were standing next to each other and talking the night away over drinks. Before long we were outside the bar, exchanging numbers and a kiss or two. The perfect evening." Yeah, so that's a good way of doing it. Like, if some guys yesterday in the video were saying, well, you say approach women, but, how do we do that without looking like a creep? Dude, if you're getting interest from a woman at a hobby club, invite her and everybody around her, right, to drinks. 5 or 6 people to drinks. They will go. People want to go and socialise, they will go, right? When she's there, work out a way to stand next to her at some point in the night and strike up a conversation over a drink and see where it goes. A lot of the time won't go anywhere because maybe you misinterpreted her signals. Maybe she's just not into, being with somebody right now. But if that person is interested in you, they will leap at the chance to actually get to talk to you in a social setting, away from the hobby, away from everybody, and eventually you may end up in a situation just like this one that Damon did. Things went on from here, as much as they do. We went on dates, chilled at each other's places, and generally had a good time. I will be honest in that I started to develop feelings for her, and I think she for me also. Well, no problem with that. A few months in, however, my heart began to sink as I was noticing some horrid patterns. That's really terrible, you know? Like, thinking I've met the one and then seeing all this toxicity pour out. Yeah, man, that sucks. That sucks so much. I mean, yeah, being in that situation. And weaker men will stay around in that situation until it blows up in their face. And it always does. But if you're noticing toxic behaviour, doesn't matter how hot she is or how perfect she is for you, dude, as soon as you start noticing those things, it's time to have a serious discussion, a frank discussion, right? A serious, frank discussion. And if she won't, or she won't change, or she won't, like, admit that something's wrong, you need to walk away. I know it sounds horrible because you meet people sometimes and they seem perfect for you. They really do. And because they seem perfect for you, you're determined to make it work at all costs. There are some people out there, dude, though, that are, doesn't matter how hot they are, they're more trouble than they're worth. They really are. Alright, so what were those toxic behaviours? Let's find out, shall we? Have a sip of my tea. Alright, okie dokie. What were those toxic behaviours? Well, she was always very critical of my male friends behind their backs. She had next to no empathy for men in any situation, in real life or otherwise. She'd laugh if they died horribly in movies and things like that, but that's just one example. Dude, that would freak me out so much. If there was a news report about a guy losing his kids to a drug addict wife, ex-wife, she'd say, well, I bet he's done stuff too, the kids are probably safer with their mum. Wow. This went on for quite a while. Outside of this and her general anger problems at times, she was amazing. Really funny and charming, the whole 9 yards. Sex was also great, but that's by the by. Dude, the crazier the woman... don't ever take... Right, okay. Don't ever take sex personally. Alright? Whether it's good or bad. Sometimes you will have a night where everything clicks into place and you are literally the best lover anyone could ever have. Every dude has been in that situation, if they're not a virgin, right? Where everything's clicked into place and things are going really well. And every dude's had nights where they're like, do you know what, I'm feeling bloated, I'm not feeling very sexy, I'm just going to get this out the way, get her off, and we'll move on. You know? You have those nights too. Don't ever take it personally. And the same thing goes for when a woman is good in bed. Never, ever, ever take it personally. What I mean by that is, recognise that you're just clicking with this woman. Just because one woman thinks you're amazing doesn't mean every woman's going to. I'm telling you now. I've had women that I've clicked with, I've had women that I haven't clicked with. It just is one of those things. So, never ever take it personally. And that means, always be ready to walk away from it. There will be other women out there who will absolutely shag your brains out. I've been in the situation when I was younger, I was in my early 20s, when I was with a woman that I shouldn't have been with. She was mental. She was mental. But she was absolutely, apocalyptically amazing in bed. Right? And that screwed my brain up, and I stayed with her, and I lost a few friends because I kept taking her, I was simping for her. I hadn't learnt my lesson at that point. Life hadn't beaten me into shape at that point. It has now. Right? So yeah, do not take it personally. Even if somebody's really good in bed, be prepared to walk away. It's not the be-all and end-all, dude. Right? And by the way, as soon as you take that power away from somebody, as soon as you say, listen, I don't need you, I can go knock one out, I'll be fine. As soon as you do that, all the pressure goes, all the pain goes, all of the anger goes out of the situation. Yeah, don't ever take it personally. If she's good, great. That doesn't mean you can't walk away or find it elsewhere. Alright? Good. But the crazy ones are always good in bed. I will also say that. Nearly every woman who's been amazing in bed has been, shall we say, unhinged, to say the least. Or at least had issues. The actual real issue was money. By the way, that's my own experience. So don't be sitting there thinking that I'm tarring everyone with the same brush. I'm telling you what I experienced. The actual real issue, though, was money. She was always borrowing money and needing help with this or that. Small amounts really, but they add up. Dude, that would be it for me. I'm tapping out here. That's it for me. Like, you know, you're toxic about men. You really don't like men for some reason, but you want to be around me. Yeah. Now you're borrowing money and not paying it back, and you're putting my financial future at risk. Yeah, I'm done. I don't give a shit how hot you are. I'm walking away from this. In the end, I started getting a few weird letters to my apartment addressed to her. Odd. One day, I just caved, as something about this didn't feel right. Yeah, no shit. And I opened one. It turns out she was heavily in credit card debt and had used my address as her own to get one extra card added to her financial resume. So I confronted her, and she refused to acknowledge she had a problem with debt. She also told me she was spending a lot of time at my place, and so yeah, she used my address without me knowing. Now, in the US, this is a big deal. Your property and your financial credit are essentially one and the same, even if you don't own the property. And so saying you are living with me without me knowing, and then getting into a lot of debt, is kind of like getting onto my ship from your own sinking one, and then blowing a few holes in mine from the inside. I told her this. She responded that she should just move in already, and we pool everything together. Then the debts won't be an issue. Oh my god, she's trying to... Wow. Wow. So her response to you calling her out for lying and being a snake and for getting you into trouble is to say, yes, I did that. I don't see a problem with it. We should just double down and move in together, and then you can take care of all of my debts. Wow. Woman living life on easy mode. You know this woman's hot. You know this woman's hot. She's had this their entire life, men bending over backwards, that she thinks this is acceptable. She literally thinks this is acceptable. She doesn't see what she's done wrong. Because normally, dudes don't hold her to account. Let's see if you do. I told her to leave. Good lads. There we go. I told her to leave. And I'm still surprised I had the strength to do that. Such is the hotness that is Alison. She did, and never spoke to me again, at least not until now. That's not the end of the story, though. Okay. No. You see, it turns out, when I went back to the gaming group for a bit of copium later on that week, I was getting a lot of weird looks, and daggers stared straight through me. Alison was there, playing with a new group of adoring male fans. She wouldn't look at me. One of my bros took me aside and told me Alison had been saying that I'd thrown her out of my apartment, which is kinda true, and that I'd been verbally abusive towards her for our entire period together, and did some very strong controlling tendencies. Nothing that can be proven, of course, as none of that happened, like physical harm, but my reputation in the store was now dirt. I resolved never to go back there again anyway if they were going to judge me so harshly, so I asked for everybody's attention before I walked out. The whole place went quiet. I pointed to Alison and told them that, listen, I'm not sure what this woman has told you, but I'm not an abuser and I've never abused her. Alison is very heavily in debt, has a lot of hatred in her heart for men, and when she tried to pawn off her debt onto me and my place, I asked her to leave and called off our relationship. That's what happened. I'll see you guys later. Not one of them, aside from my bro, who told me what was going on, ever spoke to me again. At least not since this, and this was 6 months ago now. So yeah, balance. This is probably why a lot of women in the hobby tend to get the rough end of the deal, even if they have good intentions or are good people. What do you think? Thanks, Damien. Sorry, Damon. Okay. Alright, so. I agree. I think people like this are one of the main factors in the fact that that's something that I missed out yesterday. Because we were focusing on male behaviour. But a lot of female behaviour does equate to abuse in the hobby. Right? Not just women against men. because we cover that a lot on this channel. It happens a lot, right? We know it happens a lot. They take advantage. They ruin things for people. Yeah, we get that. I mean women's behaviour circling back on other women. If women act like this in the hobby, it ruins the hobby for other women coming in who are just being normal and trying to make friends and trying to be normal. I'm not trying to be promiscuous or not trying to ruin people's lives just because they got turned down for a date or a relationship or something like that, right? It does happen. It happens in life. It happens in life. This sucks balls. This really, really, really sucks balls. And I hope you're not trying to make me feel guilty for my video yesterday, dude, because it's not going to work. Because I think everybody in this hobby needs to do better, let's be honest. I said that yesterday before we even started the video. I said, look, I'm aware of all these male mental health problems. I'm aware that there are problematic women in the hobby, but today we're going to discuss what normal women think about the hobby. And we did. And our conclusion was, if you don't treat them like creeps, they may go out with you. So don't. That was literally our conclusion. So don't. Don't ruin it for everybody else. We want more women in the hobby. Don't ruin it for everybody else by being a creep, by being an arsehole. That was literally the argument. And the fact that people were arguing against that was kind of distressing, to say the very least. Moving on to this one, though. This does happen in the hobby, and this is one of the phenomenons of women in the hobby that we didn't really discuss, because, let's be honest, we discuss it most weeks on this channel. Women who come into the hobby because they think they see a load of easy marks. Right? Attractive women entering into our hobby because they think they see a load of easy marks to take advantage of, to wrap around their little finger, to get their self-esteem boosts from. A lot of these women are not interested in you guys. A lot of these women want to be here to simply get their rocks off, make sure that, you know, that they feel sexy, and they will take that good energy, they will go to a bar and they'll give it to Chad, not you. Right? Literally. They will come into the hobby, they will get their confidence boost from you guys, they'll go to a bar and they'll give that to Chad. Now that they've had a little boost from the little bitches in the hobby. There are women in this hobby who are like that. There are. Right? Just as there are men in this hobby who mistreat women because they parcel them all with the same brush and ruin it for the rest of us. This is the female version of a neckbeard. They both need to go. That's all I've got to say on that. This is the female version of the neckbeard. And they both need to fuck off and get in the sea and stop ruining it for everybody else. Because there are normal people in this hobby, actual people, who may be lonely and want to meet other hobbyists. And you assholes on both sides make it harder for everybody. Just as people on the far right and far left make it much harder for all the normal people to actually have a normal political discourse. You lot, women like this, and neckbeards make it harder for us to find other people of the opposite sex just like us in this hobby. Go fuck yourself and get yourself in the sea. There we go. Mike says, "Hi Exile." Hey Mike. "I enjoy your channel and hope all is well on the top side of the world." Yeah, it's going pretty well. Apart from, like, it's supposed to be summer. It's 15 degrees, 1-5. What is going on? Where is my hot weather? I've got a fan here and everything. I'm ready. I'm ready for the hot weather. It's so annoying. Anyway. I have a story about my own experience in my 20s. I hated my university course, and my parents were sort of pushing me to finish it. In my spare time, I went to the local Games Workshop to get away from my mum and dad. And that's where it got worse. Every time I went there, I was a bit down. They would ask how I was. But then they would change the conversation eventually over to what they had in to show me and how it would make me feel better to buy it. What? I didn't even realise I was being emotionally manipulated. I didn't need these things. The staff told me they felt really bad if I didn't come in often or had stock just for me on hand, but it's sold out. Basically, guilt-tripping me to come in more often. Eventually, the store went out of business. I ended up with the regional manager's job at a supermarket, paying more than what my diploma probably should. A new independent hobby store opened close to my home after I made better friends there, and the store owner doesn't force people to buy anything, plus he gives 10% discount on tabletop playing regulars. I now live a happy life, doing what I want to do, spending money on what I want to spend it on. The moral of the story is, don't let people push you down the path you don't want to walk, even if it's your family. Mike. Okay, so, very short and sweet one there from Mike. I've seen people in Games Workshops do this before. Okay? And almost always that Games Workshop is in trouble. Almost always. Almost always, the people in that Games Workshop are trying desperately to save their jobs because they've had it from on high that they're not doing well enough in their store, they're not selling enough plastic crack, they need to get more of it out the door, and they're letting the team down. And they may need to look at alternative people to come in to run the store for them, right? Now, if you're in that situation, and you don't have another job to go to, and you really like working in the Games Workshop and working with Warhammer, that is enough to corrupt even the most incorruptible of souls. Okay? I've known some decent people at Games Workshop who have pulled tactics like this. They don't like doing it, but they're sort of pushed into a corner of, do this or lose your job. Do you know what the really shitty thing is? And this is why I say to people, don't do it. If you're working in Games Workshop, don't be this way. It's because you'll lose your job anyway. Because all those customers are just going to leave. The ones that you do have will leave, and the ones that you could get will not want to be around. The way to run a store is to take all of the pressure out of it and say, listen, I'm here for you. If you want to buy something, I'm going to create a great atmosphere around the store with campaigns and tournaments and narrative stuff and competitions, and we're going to have a really good time. Do those things, and you will sell a lot of things in your store. It just so happens that those things are some of the things that are banned by Games Workshop. You're not allowed to do tournaments. You're not allowed to do leagues. You're not allowed to do campaigns. You're not allowed to do narrative events. You're not allowed to do in-house competitions. At least not officially. And if they catch you doing them, you'll be in trouble. It's almost as if they want their stores to fucking fail. All the while trying to close independent retailers by making them pay loads more for models that they shouldn't be paying that much for as a industry stock value. I don't know what they're doing in retail, because they can't run retail businesses, I'll tell you that. Anyway, love you all long time. I'll speak to you tomorrow. I'm not sure what video we're doing yet tomorrow. I think I might be doing a... Well, I'm not gonna tell you just yet. I'll make it be a surprise. Love you all long time. I'll speak to you tomorrow and on Friday for some more Hobby Nightmares. See you then. Have a wonderful rest of your day and have a good one. Bye.